Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. I just want to thank you guys all for joining me again and watching my videos and subscribing. This is the video to watch if you have not been watching. This video, I believe it is the most important video that I have made so far. The reason why I'm making these videos is because I genuinely want to help you guys. Every time I look down at my beautiful miracle baby that took me 10 years to conceive, I just feel so blessed. And I know how hard it is. And nobody talks about it. And you don't know where to go for help. And nobody knows what to say to you to make you feel better. So I feel like I'm obligated to help you guys because I got my miracle and some of you guys are still trying really hard to get yours. And I'm so very blessed that I have mine. I'm not saying that you're not blessed, but I'm just saying I'm going to do everything that I can to help you. So I'm not a doctor and I'm not a counselor or a dietitian or anything like that. I'm just telling you based on what my experiences and what I've done for the last 10 years to try to help me get pregnant. And I've done a lot of research in the last 10 years and I've done and tried a lot of things to try to get pregnant. If you haven't seen my videos, you'll know that I have been trying to get pregnant for the last 10 years. My husband and I have been together since we were 14. I'm 31 now and we've been married for 10 years, so you can do the math. But we've had 5 pregnancies, 4 miscarriages, and we finally got our miracle in 2015. And he is 2 months now. So he is my miracle. I thank God every day I have him. And every time I look at him, I'm just so very blessed. And I want you guys to know how wonderful and rewarding it is to be a mom. And so that's why I'm doing these videos. I'm going to try to keep it short, but there's a lot of information, so I don't want to, skip over anything. I want to make sure that you guys get all the information that I can offer. So I titled this video, Infertility, Where Do I Start? And that's basically it. I'm going to say, list them off for you. You should probably have a pen and paper. I will try to type out in the description below and put as much information as I can below so you don't have to write so much. Maybe you can cut and paste or something. But all right. All right. Number 1, know your cycles. You need to know your cycles. If you don't know what your cycles are, it's like your menstrual cycle. Cycles are consisted of your first day of your first period to the next first day of your first period. Cycle is 21 days to 35 days, and it could range anywhere from 2 to 7 days. So that is a cycle. You need to know your menstrual cycle. It is crucial for your success. If you don't get your period, if you get your period too long, there's things that you can do for that too, but that's another video that I will have later on to try with that, to help with that. But the number 1 basis, crucial thing you need to know is the length of your cycle, okay? And a tip that I have for you is download this free app. It's called My Calendar, and in that app you can track your periods, when it starts, when it stops, your symptoms, your weight. It does everything for you. And after you do that for a couple times a month, it will predict your periods, the length of them and everything, and tell you when you ovulate and when not. So that is crucial, that you need to know your menstrual cycle. And my tip for you is to download that app. I've had the app, I've used it for many years, and I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that app helped me so much throughout my whole infertility journey. So please download that app. It is free and it will help you. So another thing I want to talk to you about is the importance of getting your period. Some of you guys don't get your period at all, and it's so important that you get your period, you guys. If you don't get your period, like at least once every 3 months, like that stuff just stays in your body and it just builds and builds, and that's not healthy for you. You could get like cancer. So you need to have your period at least once every 3 months. And if you're not getting your period naturally by yourself, then you need to go see a doctor and have them give you medicine so you can get your period, because you need to be shedding that lining like at least once every 3 months if you're not getting your period at all. All right, number 2, detox and cleanse. When I say cleanse, I mean get rid of the cigarettes, get rid of the drugs, get rid of smoke and bad environment and chemicals and all that bad stuff that you don't need. Get rid of that. When I say cleanse, that's what I mean. When I say detox, I mean you need to detox. Like, get rid of that stuff out of your body. There's a couple different detoxes that you can do, anywhere from a day to a week. I will link below some of the ones that I do. And I want you to detox like before you get your period. So number 1, you have to know when your periods are and when they're going to start and stop. And then number 2, I want you to detox and I want you to cleanse. The reason why I want you to detox and I want you to cleanse is it will help you get rid of all that bad stuff, and it'll kind of, you know, because you get rid of all the bad stuff out of your body, all the chemicals and all that bad stuff, and then you get your period and you start brand new. So that's why I want you to detox and cleanse. And I've done this. Everything that I'm talking about, I've done for myself. Okay, number 3, please eat your vitamins. You guys, eat your vitamins. One a day woman, multivitamins, it doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter. You just need to take your vitamins. It's so important that you take your vitamins. I know that you eat healthy and you eat a balanced meal. You try to eat a balanced meal, but face it, we all don't really eat a balanced meal. We eat more meat than whatever, or more carbs or whatever, but just take your vitamins. It will help you. You take them and you don't think that it's doing anything, and you don't realize until you stop taking it that you see what it's done. So like, for example, my sister, she never took vitamins. I had her start taking vitamins, and she started taking vitamins, and then she started getting her period, and she hasn't had her period in years. And then all of a sudden she stopped taking the vitamins, and then because she ran out, and then she started taking the vitamins again, and then she started getting her period. And she didn't know that until she stopped taking the vitamins, that they were actually helping. I know some people don't like taking vitamins because they get sick. So here's my tip to you. Take it before you go to bed. Never take it on an empty stomach, because if you take vitamins on an empty stomach, it kind of makes you feel sick or you want to vomit or whatever. So those are my tips for you for eating vitamins. Make sure you eat them. Please, please. All right, number 4, pay attention to your body and your cervical mucus. Cervical mucus is crucial for you to get pregnant. Right after your period, your cervical mucus is very dry, so you'll get like a dry spell. And then shortly after your period, your mucus starts to change. It gets a little thicker, and it could range from white to yellow or whatever. Every girl is different. Right before you start ovulating, your mucus will get like a egg white consistency. It's going to be like stringy and clear. And then right when you are ovulating is when your mucus will change again. This is when you get the most cervical mucus. It'll be still the egg white consistency. It'll be clear, but it'll be slippery, and you'll have the most that you ever will in your cycle for cervical mucus is when you are ovulating. After you ovulate, your cervical mucus will kind of thicken and dry out again. Every girl kind of knows their cervical mucus. You know, everyone's different from girl to girl. But I think it's important that you know your cervical mucus, because this will also tell you like, hey, I think I'm going to start to ovulate soon, or I think I'm ovulating. So pay attention to your body. And if you are dry, if you have dry spells all the time and you don't notice these changes in your body, then you can try Fertile Aid. Well, sorry, you can try Fertile CM. It's a fertile cervical mucus. I have read some reviews on Amazon that it helps and it gives you a lot of cervical mucus, but I tried it personally myself and it did not work. It actually made me more dry, so I stopped taking it. But I'm not saying that it doesn't work for, it might not work for you. It could work for you, because it just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. And I'm not getting paid to talk about Fertile CM. I'm just trying to help you, give you tips or where to go, or you know, where to find help if you need with number 4. All right, number 5 is ovulation kits. Ovulation kits are much more expensive than pregnancy kits. If you don't know what ovulation kits are, you basically do almost the same thing as a pregnancy test. You pee on a stick. And then it tells you if you're ovulating or not. And ovulating means if you have an egg, if you don't know what that means. Or if you're going to release an egg. That's what ovulating means. So you can buy them at Walmart or Walgreens. I suggest buying Walmart brand or Walgreens brand. It's the cheapest. I know there's some Clear Blue or whatever that only has like 1 or 2 tests. Don't do that. Just buy the Walmart or Walgreens brand that has like 20 strips in there. I use it for 2 cycles. So that will probably last you the longest, because if you don't know when you're ovulating, you need ovulation tests to test every single day. So I would suggest just getting a bulk one, which is 20 strips, you know, at Walgreens. I know I bought mine there. It was like $24 or something like that. The thing about ovulation sticks tests are that they are similar to pregnancy tests in the sense that you test it the same way, but they are not the same. So pregnancy tests you take in the morning, and ovulation tests you take in the afternoon. The reason why you take it in the afternoon is because you'll have the most of the LH hormone. That's what the LH surge hormone, that's what you're testing for in the ovulation kits. And that usually anytime from 10 to early afternoon, from 10 to 2, I want to say, is the best time to test for the ovulation to see if you are releasing an egg. That's the best time to check. Also try to check every day the same time. And my tip to you is do not drink like a lot of water between 2 hours before 2 hours before you're going to take the test, because you can dilute this hormone, so you don't want to do that. Also, ovulation kits are different from pregnancy tests in the sense that it is either equal to the control line or stronger. So you need to read the instructions, because every kit is a little different. Also, like I said in tip number 1, you have to know your cycles so you know when to take your ovulation test. You can't just pee on a stick every single day. I mean, you could, but that's going to get expensive. So once you know your cycle, you know how long your period is, you can go online and go to ovulation calculator and then type in like 32 days or 28 days or whatever long your cycle is. It'll tell you when you should start testing, like 10 days or 8 days. I can't tell you because every girl is different. Every cycle, the length is different. So I wish I could just say, hey, test on day 10, but I can't. So, but I can tell you that you test whenever you know your cycle. You go in the computer online, you type it in, and then you put in your cycle and it tells you, hey, test at day 10, for example, then you do that. Then you keep testing until you get a positive. And even if you get a positive ovulation, test it after that too. And you'll know, like, you'll know if you're releasing an egg once it's positive. Okay, so if you get a positive ovulation test, you have 12 to 72 hours. That's a tiny window to have sex. That means the egg is coming or releasing and you need to have sex. There needs to be sperm there to meet the egg, because your egg will only survive for 24 hours once it's released. So there needs to be sperm there to meet the egg so it can be fertilized. Right. Tip number 6. Congratulations, you got an egg, right? You have a positive ovulation stick. So when you have sex that day, and you have sex 3 days after your positive ovulation test. So if you take the ovulation test today and it's a positive, then you have sex today and 3 days after that. Because like I said earlier, your egg only survives for 24 hours and it needs to have sperm there to fertilize it. Because if there's no sperm to meet the egg, your egg will not get fertilized and you will not get pregnant. I know that that's not ideal for some of you guys to have sex that day because of different work schedules. My husband and I also work different work schedules and we never saw each other. So here's my tip to you. Have sex on a regular basis every other day. See, if you have sex every other day, you will constantly be supplying your body with sperm. So if you happen to have that egg and you take an ovulation, if you have sex every other day, you're always going to have sperm there and available. And the thing is, sperm will stay alive in you for a couple of days, longer than your egg. So if you get an egg and it gets released and hey, there's already sperm there, and they can fertilize the egg. So if you happen to be able to get together and have sex the day and 3 days after your ovulation because you guys have the same schedule or whatever the case, then that's great. Here's more tips that will help you to get pregnant. These are some tips I have for the guys. Number 1, don't go in the spa. Don't wear wetty tighties. Don't drink alcohol. Don't smoke. I mean, you don't have to quit altogether, but just for the time that you're trying. Drink coffee before sex. It'll make the sperm swim more, hyper, whatever, and find the egg faster or whatever. All right, and these are the tips I have for the gals. Don't stress him out. Like, I don't know, try to lure him into making love to you even though you know you have an egg and you're really stressing out. Because if you tell him, oh my God, we have to have sex because I ovulated, or, because, I have an egg, we have to have sex. That's a lot of pressure on them, and they can't always perform if they're, they have to. That's just a lot of pressure. So try not to stress them out too much, because if you stress them out, and you make it like a huge deal, which it is, then they can't perform. So try not to stress them out. Just try to make it seem as natural as possible. And I know that some people argue because they want to have sex in the day, or they only want to have sex at night, or they don't really feel like in the mood. Hey, you're making a baby, make it work. Have sex when you can have sex. Also, another tip for the gals. Once you have sex and he has ejaculated inside of you, you need to stay laying down. Lay down, put your feet up, or just stay laying down for at least 15 to 20 minutes. You need that sperm to stay inside of you. If you want to help it more, put your legs up for 15-20 minutes. This will help the sperm swim to the egg. If you stand up right away, gravity will pull it out. So I'm not saying that you won't get pregnant, but I'm just saying if you want to increase your chances, these are my tips to you. There is also tips that, if you want a girl or you want a boy, things that you can do, but I'm not going to really go into that. I mean, I looked into it too, but I'm not going to go into that because at this point, hey, you want a baby and it doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. So, but there are tips out there. If you want to know, increase your chances of having a boy versus a girl, there's sexual positions you can do. There is times to have sex, when the egg meets the sperm, whatever, that you have a higher chance of getting a boy versus a girl. But I'm not going to go into that. But just so you know, it is out there. There is information out there, and you can find it online. This is probably the hardest thing out of all of them. Relax. Try to relax and try not to be stressed out. You need to de-stress your life. So if you have negative people in your life, try to limit your exposure. If you're depressed or whatever, try to be with people that make you happy. Try to do things that make you happy. Try not to stress yourself out, because if you're stressed out, you guys, you will not get pregnant. Stress plays a huge role in pregnancy. I've learned that. I know it's hard. I know that when someone tells you, hey, stop stressing out, you just stress out more. So, but like I said, watch funny movies, hang out with people that make you happy, and do things that make you happy, and just try not to stress out. Like my husband says, don't worry till you need to worry. My tip for de-stressing your life is get a support system. Sisters, brothers, husband, spouse, you need a support system. If you don't have any of that, join a group. There's so many infertility groups out there that are so supportive. I was in a group on Facebook, and these gals are like my sisters. You just support each other and tell each other stories and give each other hope to keep going. And it helped a lot on gloomy blue days. So get a support system. It's important that you do this and you don't do it alone. Take a pregnancy test. Oh, I was terrible at this. I always wanted to know way too soon. So I bought all these expensive pregnancy tests, and I took it, because you can take it 5 days earlier, 4 days earlier, 3 days earlier. Bottom line is, take it 3 days after your missed period. So if my period is supposed to be due today, I don't take it till 3 days later. So wait till you miss your period, take it 3 days later. If it's still a negative, wait 5 days and take it again. By then you should probably get your period if you don't have a positive. If you're anything like me, you start to get scared of taking pregnancy tests because you get so many negatives, and it's just this awful feeling. So I waited. I took them at first, but after a while I just waited. And if I was late 3 days, then I still waited, and I would just wait for my period. Because if I got my period, I wouldn't have to take the test, and I wouldn't have to be disappointed, because I felt like, I was still sad when I got my period, but when I got my period, I was like, okay, I gotta start over. Start fresh this month. That month is over. This month is new. This is a new cycle. We're gonna start over fresh. And that's how I felt with my periods. Okay, so if you get a positive, then call your doctor so they can do a blood test. Now, pregnancy tests are different from ovulation tests, like I told you earlier. Pregnancy tests, is the best time to take pregnancy tests is early in the morning, your first void, your first urine, is when you want to take your pregnancy test, because that is when your urine is most concentrated. Pregnancy tests are different from ovulation tests because we're looking for the hormone beta-HCG. Now that hormone your body normally does not produce. The baby's placenta will produce that hormone, and that's the baby's placenta will produce that hormone. So if you get a positive, it's a positive. It doesn't matter how dark the line is. A positive is a positive because your body does not produce that hormone. That's what's different between the ovulation test and the pregnancy test. There are some cases that you get a false positive, and that, you know, it could be like if you're on medication or you have protein in your urine or something like that, but false positives won't nearly happen. As rarely will it happen. Pregnancy tests are not all made the same. Dollar store, Dollar Tree, dollar store pregnancy tests, they're not made the same as the ones at Walmart and Walgreens and wherever else you can get pregnancy tests. All the pregnancy tests are different. Some are more sensitive than others, and some are less sensitive. So if you buy a pregnancy test from the Dollar Tree and you take a pregnancy test today and it's negative, and then you happen to have another pregnancy test and you take that one the same day today and it's positive, and you're like, what? That's because they're not made the same. Some pregnancy tests will pick up the hormone, less of the hormone for positive, and other ones do not. Just because a pregnancy test is more expensive does not mean that it works better. You have to read the boxes. Some of them are more sensitive versus others. I just want you to know that pregnancy tests are not all made the same. Also, when you get a positive pregnancy test and you go into the clinic, make sure you tell them you don't want another urine pregnancy test, because you just took one at home, and we do basically the same thing in the lab that you did at home, because it's a waiver test and anybody could do it. So don't do another urine pregnancy test. If you have a positive one, tell them you want a blood test, and they will do the blood test. They can kind of estimate, like, you know, yes, you are pregnant. It will give us a number, and then it'll tell us like kind of how far along you are, but we don't really go based on that number. We just know that if it's above a certain level that you are pregnant, it's a liable pregnancy. Another tip for you, like if you're anything like me, who I was super scared all the time of having miscarriages because I had so many, I would take multiple pregnancy tests. So I would take one today, and I would take one tomorrow, and I would take one like another day, and then another week. And the reason why I did that was because you can see that the hormone was increasing, because on the stick, on the pregnancy stick, it would get darker. The lines would get darker each day, and I would date them. So that kind of gave me like reassurance, like, oh, okay, well, you know, the baby, the pregnancy is progressing, the hormone is getting stronger and with the baby, and that helped me to get through, you know, scary days or whatever. If you get a negative pregnancy test and you get your period, just remember that a new period means a fresh start, and you can start all over and try over again. I know it is hard. I know that you don't want to start all over again. You get so invested every single time, every single cycle. But if I could do it for the last 10 years, you can do it. I will keep praying for you guys for your miracles. And if you have any questions, or if I could help you in any other way with any videos or any other tips that you would like to know, please comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks.